quit trying. You were too small, that you were too young. They tell you the chance is too slim, the world is too big, but you say how come? I'm ready to light a new fire, raise a new flag to cross a new sea. And if I'm ever the one in your way, then put your head down and run right through me. So why keep settling for so much less? Don't take what's given, just demand what's next. We're looking for an open door. It's something like a shadow in the valley, colossal. Open up your eyes, young one, and be watchful. Behind closed doors, trying to write a new gospel. They are not God, they're not even apostles. I come with the dumb drum banging you breathless. Enemies freeze, left bent and defenseless. Straight for the jest of anybody against us. The more they resist it, the more that they tempt us. So why keep settling for so much less? Don't take what's given, just demand what's next. We're looking for an open. We're looking for an open door, something we didn't see before. And when we get out of here, we'll take off and never stop running. So why keep settling for so much less? Don't take what's given, just demand what's next. We're looking for an open door, something we didn't see before. Some way to get out of here, plot twist that we didn't see coming. We're looking for an open door, something we didn't see before. And when we get out of here, we'll take off and never stop running. No, no, we'll never stop running. No, no, we'll never stop running. When we get that open door, no, no, we'll never stop running. No, no, we'll never stop running. No, no, we'll never stop running. When we get that open door, no, no, we'll never stop running.
Alright, sorry y'all. Let me know if the music's too loud. But I think we're overall solid right now. Things should be working. I'm I'm gonna change my camera just 1 second here. I want to change one thing with my camera, and we off and running after that. All right. I'm finally happy we talk about Bulls like decent performance, right? I'm finally happy to see a game where the Bulls look like a modern day team. It's just a relief to finally see it happen for once. I know the Bulls had a game I think against Brooklyn last season that looked kind of similar to this, where it's like, oh my god, we put up so many points, we shot so many threes and made them. It's good to see finally, but obviously something like this is not going to happen every single night, but it happened tonight, so we're going to talk about what happened tonight. So first things first, I just want to look at this Bulls shot chart from the first half, because it honestly might be the best shot chart I have seen from this Bulls squad the entire time I have watched this certain squad together, you know, since DeRozan, Lonzo, and Vooch have all come over. This might be the best shot chart I have seen. 43 out of the 53 attempted shots in the first half were either at the rim, or I guess more specifically in the paint, or from three. Okay, the Bulls shot, I think it was 21 threes in that first half. I'm just like, oh my god, we're finally doing it. We're finally being a modern day team for a half. I did not have faith it would continue, and knowing this Utah Jazz team and how well they shoot the three, I was still scared at halftime, even though we had a 14-point lead. But Bulls held on. They even extended the lead out into basically 22-point lead, and they were able to get this win. So overall, just happy to see it finally. Finally seeing a win where the Bulls are not winning in crunch time. They're not winning in a low-scoring type game, and they're winning because they actually shot the three ball well. Three things that we have not seen at all yet this season, but it finally happened in the eighth game of the season. The Bulls are now 3-5. Jazz are now 2-6. So just happy to finally talk about it. Happy to finally not be complaining about the same old usual stuff that we saw, that we've been seeing from this Bulls team all of last season and into this season. So good overall stuff. Quick look at the box score. I think this is honestly the best overall win tonight in terms of team play, and then also your main guys having good games, right? I thought my Epic pen was up. Sorry. This was an overall just solid game from, obviously, Levine finally played well. I don't know what's up with him specifically, but is this the first time for Zach since the opening night that he wasn't listed on the injury report for back spasm? So maybe he's finally, you know, not dealing with any sort of issues, and that's the reason why he looks so good tonight. And DeRozan got off to a nice start. He scored 9 points in that first quarter, I believe, and just was consistent throughout the entire game. And then I think the biggest player that was really kind of setting the tone tonight for the Bulls is this dude right here. Glad to see Javon Carter finally get the praise that he deserves, and he's playing much better alongside his praise. So just good overall stuff from this Bulls squad. I believe it was 7 guys in double figures, if I'm counting correctly. No, it was actually 8 guys in double figures. So it was a team win with the Stars leading, and the Utah Jazz just turning the ball over constantly. I like that we won. However, it bothers me that the Bulls weren't scoring more off the Jazz turnovers in the first half. Really? I actually was pleasantly surprised to see how well the Bulls scored off turnovers in the first half. The Bulls had 23 points off turnovers in the first half, and I believe the Jazz had 14 turnovers. Was it? I don't exactly remember the exact number, but I mean, if 23 points off turnovers, like that's pretty good. I don't know if I'd be complaining about that specifically. I think you have a better argument for the second half. I think for the Bulls in the second half, it wasn't as good. So the Bulls had 7 points off turnovers in the second half. So I can understand that argument. And the Jazz continue to turn it over in the second half. But in terms of points off turnovers, I think the Bulls did pretty well in the first half. Somehow the Bulls in the first half, they only had 4 fast break points in the first half. I don't know how. I genuinely do not know how. They only had 4 fast break points in the first half. But I guess that's what was calculated. Bulls finished with 12 fast break points. I honestly think they had like 20. But it's weird how they calculate that sort of stuff. But clearly it wasn't one of those days where everything looked like a fast break to me. But the box score doesn't say such, so you know it is what it is. Yeah, not really a lot to complain about in this one. I'm just happy to just be talking about it, and then I'm gonna show you some cool things in terms of video. I haven't done a lot of the film breakdown in the stream so far this year. because I honestly felt like every time I do a film breakdown, I'm gonna repeat the same crap over and over and over again. But finally, I get to be like, hey, here's a good play that we can hopefully continue to do, and hopefully we see more of it moving forward, because I don't want to see this sort of play go away, right? So I'm just happy to finally just be like, oh my god, we have some good things to talk about tonight. So good overall stuff from the Bulls as now. So I forget how exactly the schedule is. The Bulls, they win against the Jazz, which I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous about the Jazz because they just shoot the threes constantly, and they didn't have like the worst night in the world, but this wasn't the greatest night from them. I mean, as you can see, they launched threes at a pretty high rate. Now the Bulls go and take on the Phoenix Suns, and they're at home again. I don't know if Devin Booker's going to play. It seems like Bradley Beal is just going to always be out. But this man's still playing. So this isn't an easy win, but because of the Phoenix Suns are missing, obviously, two of their key guys, we've seen that the Phoenix Suns have issues in terms of like a math issue, right? They take too many mid-range shots, they don't shoot enough threes, etc. So that could be a game for the Bulls to potentially steal, considering that there's players that are missing for the Phoenix Suns. But we'll see about that moving forward. But I want to focus heavily on this tonight. Defense looked off, or is it just me? Which defense specifically are you talking about? The Bulls or the Jazz? If you're talking about the Bulls, I do think that the Bulls a little bit. I am concerned a little bit about the Bulls defense, specifically in the first quarter. I thought the Bulls were gambling a lot in the first quarter, and it was people gambling not named Zach LaVine. I know Zach against the Brooklyn Nets, he had those two gambles at the end of the game, where he tried to swipe the ball from behind, and that I don't know if that directly cost the Bulls the game, but like it was obviously terrible plays. And we saw in the first quarter from the Bulls that like guys like Alex Caruso, Javon Carter, they were just gambling. Like they were straight up gambling and like selling out, and we're seeing the Jazz like they be getting easy layups, or they're getting open 3-point looks out of it to end the quarter specifically. So I wasn't too happy about that. Quarters 2 and 3 I thought were pretty solid. Quarter 4, I'm not going to talk about too much of it because it was pretty much garbage time at that point, but I guess a little bit in a sense that the defense was off. Right, at least we saw the defense be off a little bit for at least the beginning of this game. Josh reported there's Optimus for Beal returning against the Bulls. Really? I didn't know even. Is that new? Because I did not see that. I might also just not be up to date with things right now. See here. Did it not pop up on my notifications or something? Honestly, who knows? I don't really know. Either way, though, if one of those guys are out for the Suns, whether it's Booker or Beal, the Bulls should still try to be in that game and trying to win that. If they had all three, I don't think they win it at all. But if there's only two, they should be trying to win it. So I'm cool with just saying that they should still try to win it if two of the three are there. So yeah, hopefully we'll see. We'll see what the Bulls do against Phoenix Suns. But I'll just talk about the Jazz tonight. Glad Carr is able to do very, very well today. Yeah, I mean, look, I think Javon Carr has played a lot, like, really well recently. I mean, at least in the last, like, 4-ish games, he's played actually really well. Here's the thing, though, that I'm trying to figure this out for the Bulls right now, because I'm kind of lost in terms of how Billy is running his rotation. I don't exactly like it, but I mean, we know that these three guys are going to get most of the minutes. I mean, like, we're talking like 34 to 36 minutes each game from these three. But the guys you can take minutes away from are these two guys. You know, Torrey Craig's now starting. But Javon Carter has been getting games where he's only playing like 12, 13 minutes. And even in this game, he only played 16 minutes. And I thought he was playing really, really well. I honestly think Billy needs to figure out a way to get him like 20 minutes tonight. Now, Ayo being back does hurt that, right? Because we saw that Carter got more run when Ayo was out with illness. But yeah, Carter has been, I think, really solid on both ends of the court. Obviously, the biggest thing for me is that he took I think 7 threes in the first half, And I know a lot of people are always just like, that's too many threes, especially from a role player. Like, man, I mean, I'm just here to tell you, if Javon Carter took 5 threes per half, I would not be upset. Like, we need guys to think shoot first on this roster, because the unfortunate part about our best shooters, which are these two, one, they're both not having great shooting years so far, specifically Kobe. Kobe's came into this game with like a 24% for 3-point range or something like that. It was dreadful, okay? The thing is that these two guys here, they both think drive first. And I've talked about this like earlier on in the season, where I'm like, okay, these two guys need to figure out, like, okay, if one's shooting, then the other one has to drive, but they both can't be shooting and they both can't be driving, right? So if Kobe sees, okay, Zach LaVine is attacking the basket tonight and he is just going, you know, flat out just going to the rim, okay, then he needs to think, all right, I gotta shoot. But vice versa, right? If Kobe's attacking, right, then Zach's gotta shoot. The thing is, though, is that they both think drive first. And I've talked about how much this is a problem for specifically this Bulls roster, that LaVine is the best finisher, he's the best paint scorer on the Bulls, and he's also the best shooter for the Bulls. It's like, okay, that's nice that he can do both, but it puts so much pressure on one person to do both things, to basically be the only player to shoot the most efficient shots, right? So I don't know what exactly it's gonna the balance is gonna be, but if guys like Carter, Caruso, and Williams, and then obviously Kobe White when he's not driving, if they think shoot first, it helps this team a lot. So they're not thinking pass or drive, right? And then it allows Zach just to continue just to drive. So I don't know how it's gonna get to that point with the Bulls, but it's nice to see with Javon that he took 8 threes, right? He took 8 threes in 16 minutes. That's basically, you know, a 3 every 2 minutes. I wouldn't mind if this was 10, because he is, percentage-wise, the best shooter on this Bulls team. So let it fly. I think he even passed up a couple tonight, and I'm like, hey, just shoot it. I genuinely do not care. Shoot the ball, and we'll be all good. Thinks it might have been because of the Jazz length, and you bring up a good point, Noel. The Bulls, for some reason, okay, like when they see a team that isn't exactly that big on the perimeter, right, and they may even have a good shot blocker, right? So, for example, the Indiana Pacers, right? The Bulls got a win against the Pacers, and they barely took threes in that game, and all they did was just attack the paint. And they have Miles Turner. They have a really good shot blocker. The thing is, though, is that the rest of the Pacers team, they're pretty small, right? Obviously, with the Utah Jazz, they're playing Lowry at small forward, and he's a 7-footer. Walker Kessler is a very, very good shot blocker, rim protector, etc. In at the center position, and then they're playing John Collins at power forward, which is he's 6'10". So it probably does help that, you know, they see the Jazz and like, oh my God, you're so big that we're just not going to drive as much. But it also just seemed like, I mean, specifically for Javon Carter, right? I thought Javon Carter earlier in the season was passing up some threes. And I think for some Bulls fans, they're like, oh, you know, it's good that he passed up on some. For me, it's not. I think that a lot of other players just shoot it. But tonight, though, it wasn't necessarily like, oh, he was looking to drive, but instead just shot it, right? It was just that he was just pulling up, right? It was, okay, I got the handoff, I'm shooting it. Not even thinking about driving, right? Which I would much rather that from Javon than him trying to be like the distributor in the second unit. I think we kind of know that his point guard skills aren't exactly great, but he's here for shooting, so shoot the ball, and we saw that tonight, obviously. So it needs to continue for the other players as well. Kobe looked like CP3 at times. Yeah, Kobe. This is the part that I'm struggling to figure out with Kobe, because tonight it looks like one of those nights where I'm like, hey, this is really solid from you. Only 1 turnover, which I won't even count. And he had 7 assists. I think the 1 turnover honestly came in garbage time, so I'm not going to count it for him. But, you know, 7 and 9, 4-6 shooting. There's something about Kobe playing at home right now that he looks fantastic, but when he's on the road, that dude looks like a completely different player. I don't know what it's going to take for Kobe to continue this sort of performance, but he needs to do this sort of stuff or think this way every single night. I mean, 6 threes, which is pretty solid. I honestly wouldn't mind if he shot 8. And, you know, just not turn it over and not make dumb decisions, which for some reason on the road he makes the dumb decision, but then when he's at home it seems like he can't do anything wrong. So he needs to continue just playing better at home, or sorry, not on the road. And it just seems like he's really comfortable at home, so that's good, I guess. But yeah, he genuinely looked like CP3 with some of like those when he did the pick and roll and then like shot 10-foot fadeaway. That looked very CP3-esque. Yeah, and I don't really mind it, even if it is like a mid-range shot. Patrick had some head scratchers, but happy to see him be aggressive. We'll talk about Patrick Williams in a little bit here because actually I don't remember exactly when did Torrey Craig actually start the first time. I don't know if I don't know if I streamed after that one. I think I'm pretty sure it was against the Nets, but I could be wrong. But we'll talk about Patrick in a little bit here, as he had some moments. I will say. One other thing I want to point out, I don't know what the hell the Jazz were thinking tonight, but I mean, 22 turnovers is ridiculous. So Jordan Clarkson had 5, Taylor Horton-Tucker had 5, John Collins had 2 that I thought were like, what is happening? Chris Dunn with 2. So John Collins had that one where it was very obvious an illegal screen, and I don't know why he was even arguing about it. Keontae George with 2. Ochai Agbaji with 2. Like, what is happening? Like, this is the one thing about the Jazz that I don't really understand. I'm going to talk about the Jazz a little bit here because obviously Lauri Markkanen had a very good game, and he continues to have good games against the Bulls whenever he plays the Bulls. But their roster construction doesn't make any sense to me. And I'll continue kind of like looking into it as we move forward. But there's a lot of times I'm just kind of sitting here scratching my head like, what? And the way that they run like that humongous lineup out there, it doesn't really make much sense. But we'll talk about that in a little bit here. But the 22 turnovers tonight just completely helped this Bulls team. Just get so many points off turnovers and extra shots. If you look at the total shots, right, the Jazz at 86, the Bulls are actually that was actually pretty close. But yeah, helps that the Jazz turned over 22 times because they would have had more shot attempts at the Bulls if that didn't happen. I did see Torrey's early foul trouble tonight affect the game overall. I mean, we won. Did others step up? So Torrey Craig getting the early foul trouble definitely didn't help. I'll say that. He was tasked with guarding Lauri Markkanen, and it would have been better if Torrey was able to stay in the game to stay on Lauri. It's an interesting thing right now with Markkanen because he is having such good success right now. And I'm very, very happy for Lauri, and I'm not going to be salty about it, his time with the Bulls, okay? Because clearly Boylan ruined him here. But the thing about Markkanen that I still, sorry about the ad, I still kind of have this thing about Markkanen where yeah, he's having great success right now, and I'm very, very happy for him. But they've done this thing now where Lauri is basically a wing, right? I think a lot of us want him to play power forward, or some of us even want to play center. I wanted to personally play center because I thought having a 7-footer that can, put the ball on the floor really effectively and move around that well would be nice. And yes, he's not a great rim protector by any means, okay? But I thought that would be the best idea for Markkanen, right? For now, it very clearly they're saying like, okay, no, he's not even a power forward. He's a wing. Like, he is basically a 7-foot shooting guard in a sense, or, obviously small forward, okay? And the thing that still bothers me when I watch Lauri now is that he's still just shooting threes. Now, he's very good at it. I'm not saying he's not good at, shooting threes, but I feel like he can take advantage of his size more. And we've seen players kind of his size at 7 foot play the small forward, but they just take advantage of their size a lot better and score a little bit more inside. But you just kind of look at a ton of his shots are just threes, which is good, right? I mean, he's a very good 3-point shooter, but putting someone like Torrey Craig is actually a very viable option, though, even though Torrey Craig's only 6'7". But overall, Torrey Craig getting in foul trouble, it hurt the Bulls. And I think it really hurt them in the first quarter because we saw Lauri get open a few times when I felt like he really shouldn't have gotten open. 32 points given up by the Bulls in the first quarter. While they scored 37, giving up 32 is not great. And then after that, it seemed like the Bulls kind of settled in when the second unit was able to fully get implemented. Patrick Williams had to come in early. because Torrey Craig's foul trouble, and it just seemed like Craig could never get a rhythm. But luckily for us, others stepped up, and namely Patrick Williams. As we transition to Patrick Williams talk, he played 24 minutes tonight, okay? And there was a point actually where Patrick Williams had the second most shot attempts in the game for the Bulls, and he was only behind Levine, who had 15. So big step up from Pat tonight. And if Pat didn't step up, I would be really concerned about this team tonight. And I do think Pat had some nice moments. I think they should realistically flip Markkanen. I'm also in the same boat. Here's the crazy thing, okay? Because like I first off, this is always the argument I make to people, okay? So Lauri's now having, he's an all-star player now, okay? He's clearly become a very good player, right? And I'm actually so yeah, he's now averaging like a lot more rebounds than and this is what I want to see from Markkanen, right? And this was something that I felt like when he was here in Chicago, it wasn't consistent enough. Actually, no, he's not. It was better last season. The last season and this season so far has been better in terms of the rebounding, right? So like he's not only just a scorer now, like he's actually adding rebounding. His defense isn't good by any means, but he's still he's not adding more than just his scoring, okay, which is great. The thing is though about Lauri is when you look at this Jazz team, like this Jazz team is very clearly garbage on defense. Like they have been one of the worst teams so far defensively this season. Last season they had issues defensively, okay? And it's like all I'm just gonna tell people is it's not Markkanen's fault, right? Like as much as like people like try to put that argument onto Zach LaVine, onto others like Devin Booker before he got CP3, and even with Bradley Beal with the Wizards, right? Like just because that you have a player like your best player on the team who is score first, doesn't play any defense, it does not mean then that the team's defensive struggles is on that singular player, okay? Sure, it doesn't help that they're not good defensively, but it's still then on the front office to build an actual capable defensive roster, right? The Jazz's struggles is by no means Markkanen's fault, okay? And I hope people understand that. But the unfortunate part about this is that when they traded Mitchell and they traded Gobert, they were trying to get into the Wemby sweepstakes, and then Markkanen took off. And so suddenly they won more games than they should have, right? As I've said before how many times, I always think tanking is never going to go as planned. It really never does. The Jazz were looking to tank, and Markkanen took off. So it's like, oh my god, okay, now what do you do? Because now you're kind of in that little purgatory range where you're too good to not get a top 5 pick, but now you're also not good enough to make the playoffs. So like, where do you go? And unfortunately for the Jazz, like I look at this roster, and while I like Walker Kessler, I do not see a second option in sight. It's Lauri Markkanen and who? No disrespect to the other players. I like Talen Horton-Tucker, but I mean Jordan Clarkson is at best a six man off the bench, right? Colin Sexton's an okay player, but we've seen how many times that teams have given up on him because, or I guess not many teams, but teams have given up on him in terms of his scoring because he's just not consistent enough, and he's just like a better defender as a role player, right? There's no second option in sight, and the Jazz are not going to be bad enough to get a top 5 pick unless they really tank out the rest of the year. So unfortunately for Markkanen, he's kind of put in a spot where it's really not his fault, which you can also argue it is his fault because he suddenly became great and took the Jazz out of the Wemby sweepstakes. But I do think that the Jazz, they actually need to just I would trade Markkanen as well. I would actually I would trade Lauri because he's right now at his highest value. He's on a contract that is very, very affordable for many teams, and I would think that a lot of teams would want a 7-foot shooter, even though he's not the greatest defender. So it just kind of puts into perspective of how like a rebuild could go if you actually are like, oh, we're gonna tank, but we're gonna get a bunch of talent, and so then we're gonna try to develop but also tank, and look what happens. You suddenly you develop too well in a sense to tank now. So I'm not exactly sure where the Jazz go from here, but I wouldn't be shocked if they traded Markkanen, as you said, Noel. I'm gonna get back to Patrick Williams in a second here. I think I'm going to wake up like it's all a dream, it was a good day. Our Our team won in a blowout game. I had $2 to my name and coming home from work. I decided to stop by the store and play lottery and won $25,000 for $2. Somebody pinched me. Wait, what? Is that over? Well, I hope your dream comes true. Pacers is a good place for, I think, for lottery. I can see that. Yeah. Actually, I thought the Clippers was a really good spot, but now that they traded a bunch of players away, that it doesn't make any sense anymore. We'll see. You know, who else? Is it bigger people putting more effort on getting to offensive rebounds? I wish he would trust himself at a faster pace. At times he dribbles through, getting close to the paint and trips over. Yeah. So, sorry, I was really rereading your message, Kick. So yeah, let's talk about P. Will for a little bit here, because I do think that Patrick, you're right with your analysis. Okay, you're definitely right. There are moments with Patrick where it really looks like, oh, he's really trying to get to the rim, but then his coordination is just completely off. First off, I do agree that that Patrick Williams, in terms of his effort, and this was even before he went to the bench, I think his effort in trying to get offensive rebounds has been better. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean that he gets the offensive rebound, right? But it just, he needs to be there working to get the offensive rebound and trying, right? And it forces then the defense to really box out and then have to play slower when, you know, you get the rebound, right? Because you have to actually put guys to get the rebound, and you don't have guys running out in transition already, right? So that's good from Patrick. I'll say, though, that in terms of the defensive rebounding for Patrick, I still don't think it's at a high enough level. And the unfortunate part about this is, as we're talking about this, it's like, oh my god, we made improvement. He's giving more effort on the offensive glass. That is actually bare minimum. Like, that should be bare minimum from Patrick Williams, whether he's having a good night, a bad night, playing 4 minutes, playing 40 minutes, right? His effort on the offensive glass should be consistent no matter what, every single night. It sucks that we're even saying, though, like, oh my god, he's giving more effort. That should be consistent. Like, we shouldn't even have to think about that. It should just be a constant thing that he does every single time. But here we are, right? Because we've seen him too many times not give more effort than we've seen the past couple of games. So it's better. But that needs to continue. I need to see that continue. It's terrible that we even have to discuss it, but it needs to continue to be the case moving forward. And then we don't have to discuss it anymore. Now, in terms of his overall stuff, we're gonna go through Patrick Williams' overall film tonight, because there's some good, right? But then there's also some terrible. Won a lot of scratch off target efforts. Oh my god! Wait, you actually won! Oh my god, Zara! Wow, I didn't understand that. Sorry, the emojis were throwing me off. It like broke my flow of your sentence and everything. Wow. Okay. Congratulations, honestly. Yeah, that's insane. I can't believe you just got $25,000 on a random $2 scratch off. Wow, that's insane. But enjoy your winnings. I'm happy. I'm actually really happy for you. So obviously that doesn't come around too often. So congratulations on that. Enjoy your winnings and be smart about it. That's all I'll say. Sorry, I'm getting messages on my phone. But yeah, congratulations again. I agree with that being the bare minimum. Yeah, that's the bare minimum that he should be putting in. All right, let's talk about Patrick Williams, okay? Because this is the start of his night. So pick and roll, Booch. Okay, now this is the thing with Pat that I'm trying to figure. I'm always trying to have a balance with. Okay, it's nice that he got, like, for a lot of people, at least for them, it's nice that he gets a pick and roll opportunity, right? A lot of people are like, oh my god, Patrick Williams needs to get more of these. I'm personally in the boat of like, no, he doesn't. I don't think this is really his strength whatsoever. But then, you know, he does this. Oh, sorry. And he pulls it for a mid-range. Okay, while this is a nice mid-range shot, I'm not going to talk about the analytics or anything. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Like you know, I'm not a big fan of the mid-range. Okay, the thing is, though, hey, forget all that. It's just that I know you can do this, right? Like I know that Pat can do this. Like this isn't new to me, right? So, you know, this is fine. Oh, sorry. Good shot from Pat. That's not really much to discuss, though. It's like, okay, you did it. Nice. This right here, though, is what I was happy with. Okay. Pat, in my opinion, okay, this is a drive, you know, loose ball, whatever. Okay, reset. This is good. This, to me, like, he's far out here, right? It's a 29-foot 3-point shot, okay, and he has a defender running at him. Okay, this is the part that I need to see him improve at. He didn't even think about putting the ball on the floor. He got the ball. He saw Kelly Olynyk running out to him. He's far behind the 3-point line. He just shot it, right? This is where I give him the big thumbs up, because this is where I think Pat has always struggled, because he always overthinks it, or he takes too long, or what I call the catch and think, right? He is the main culprit of what we call the catch and think, and this right here is the biggest part of, like, you did a good job. You didn't even think about it. You caught the ball, you shot it, even with the defender running out you, and you're basically 3 feet behind the 3-point line. Good. Do this more, because this shows me that you have the confidence just to shoot the 3 ball whenever. Okay, so good, really good stuff from Patrick Williams there. I think that, yeah, so this is part of when this is the part that with Pat that we're always trying to figure out. So here, okay, he, in my opinion, should have shot this. Just saying. He really should have shot this ball, but it's all right. He gets the pump fake out on John Collins, who closes out bad, and he drives. Okay. Well, I understand that the defense rotated, okay, and Kelly Olynyk is here. You need to find a way to either finish this or get to the free throw line. Pat's left hand, I don't really fully trust it right now. It doesn't really seem like he has much control over it. I understand a lot of players have this issue, especially with their finishing with the left, but Pat needs to find a way to finish this. And whether that's him just doing a little float shot, because he sees then the defender come over here. I'm going to change the color. So he sees Olynyk come over here, right? Like, if you see the big man come on over, okay, then maybe you float this in. But in the end, you need to figure out a way to score this, or you're throwing this off to Andre Drummond. This is where he needs to really start fixing his problems, because this seems to me like it wasn't him tripping over himself. This wasn't him, you know, trying to make like a triple threat type move and doing a crazy spin move or anything. This is just a straight up, I caught the ball, I pump faked it, I drove, and I wasn't able to finish this or draw a foul. And we've talked about this on this channel. We've heard it on the broadcast that Patrick Williams' finishing at the rim is poor. It just straight up is. He does not finish well enough at the rim for a dude that is 6'7", you know, 220-ish whatever pounds, with a very athletic frame, right? He needs to be better, okay? So if he finished that, I'm like, hey, improvement. But he didn't, obviously. I don't know what this is. That's a Colin Sexton this 3-point shot, so I don't know why it says Patrick Williams. Honestly, let's just watch this, because it might be... Did he shoot a 3 here? He must have. No, this is just him. Yeah, this is just him missing this. I don't understand that. I think then he got a 3-point shot after that, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he did. I don't know why it doesn't show that. Might show it here. No, this is just the Colin Sexton 3. Okay, I don't know. NBA is tripping. NBA.com's tripping. It is what it is. We won't talk about this for now. What the heck is happening to NBA.com? I just scrolled for an eternity, and that's incorrect. Okay, maybe they're updating as we're talking about. Yeah, not sure. That was odd. I think that's it for the first quarter from Pat. Yeah. Okay, so I think we want to more talk about his third quarter stuff, because that was when I was just like, huh, you know, you're playing hard, but you're kind of hurting us a little bit. So this 3-point shot, I don't actually, let's see here. Yeah, I think this was fine. No, this is the Rosen make. Okay, wait. The NBA.com is just all over the place right now. This is clearly incorrect. What's this? This is the goaltending. Yeah, so this one you gotta call for goaltending. Yeah, okay. Skip that for now, I guess. That might honestly be it for Pat in the second quarter. So the third quarter is when we want to talk about Pat the most, because there was a lot going on. So first off, this was good in my opinion. We saw him do a little bit of a spin move here, or sorry, not a spin move, just a hard finish through contact, right? What did we see in the last one, right? We saw him go into Kelly Olynyk, wasn't able to finish. Okay, in this one right here, he cuts, which I don't necessarily know if this is really the right move for him to cut, because I'm going to show you a play later today where I'm going to talk about the Bulls spacing issue still, but this, in my opinion, is one of those areas where I'm like, Pat, I don't know if he's supposed to cut here, but at least he's moving, and he's able to finish over marketing. Okay, this is good. He needs to continue to find ways to do that, because it's a very similar situation that he just was in against Kelly Olynyk, but obviously in that one he didn't finish, right? This one he did. So this is really good. Now, the crazier stuff though happens a little bit later, okay? So this one right here, this is one that I was not happy with Pat. So you see him pick and roll, he gets this. This is one of those spacing issues with this Bulls team, because I don't fully understand this, right? First off, this was supposed to be a pick and roll. I don't know what Vooch was thinking, but he isn't saying the pick right. He basically stopped saying the pick for Zach to do this. Now, I wouldn't mind Zach rejecting that screen. I think that's a good play also, but it is what it is. Now, we've seen this set from this Bulls team a lot, okay? Where Caruso went down early, right? And then the pick and roll top of the key, and now Caruso's got to get out of here. And part of me is thinking that maybe Caruso read the wrong, he just read this wrong, but I honestly feel like he should be going this way, but he didn't. And then Pat's supposed to come over, set a screen, and let Caruso do this, but yeah, we'll live with it. But if Pat's not gonna set a screen, right, then Pat's gonna move up here. So there's that problem, okay? That Pat, he just didn't move right in a sense. So now he drives this, okay, and he gets blocked by Walker Kessler. Pat, you're a strong dude, okay? Go up strong or don't go up at all, right? And if you don't have faith right now in yourself where you can finish this layup in a sense, float it. Then you gotta develop a floater, okay? You must develop a floater in this sort of scenario if you don't have faith of going and challenging a shot blocker, right? But this is where Pat needs to start improving, because to me, what he should be doing is he needs to use his frame, bump into Walker Kessler to get when Kessler goes up for the verticality move, right? If you bump into Kessler's chest, then it throws Kessler completely off, and then he can't block this shot, okay? But Pat didn't do that, and instead we get this, and that's the result. So another, again, finishing. Pat needs to finish this, okay? And then this one here was like an overcook in a sense. I think that's honestly the best term for this, is just he overcooked. So I won't get into the Bull spacing, but this is bad. But here, okay, now with this sort of play right here, because of how much less room that Olynyk has to cover, okay, I'm fine with Pat driving this. All right, so he pump fakes this. He does this little triple threat move. He got Kelly Olynyk off balance, right? And he's full out driving here. He does a spin move, which is fantastic by Pat. And he doesn't finish it. And yet again, it's Walker Kessler here, who I understand is a very good shot blocker. I'm not taking anything away from Kessler, but he's got to finish this. Kessler didn't even really get that good of an angle to block this shot, and Pat just kind of threw it up too quickly. He didn't get a full lift off from his jump, which is the more concerning part about that. But well, in the end, even if he didn't get the best lift off, right, he needs to find a way to finish that. And he just unfortunately did not. So that's one of those. Let's just watch this again. Pat's footwork looks pretty fine here. Like I don't have an issue with it. Pump fake, triple threat, pump. Let's see, jab steps this way. That's fine. Okay, now he drives, and this right here, I think is that's solid footwork. But I don't know if I'm not a coach, guys, when it comes to this sort of stuff. But it seems like his base right here, like he did the spin move, and he just looks like he's like leaning, like he's completely just like off balance at this point. So if he's going to do the spin move, then he needs to find a way to get more lift on this shot here, and so he's able to jump higher. But I mean, I think the initial footwork looks fine, but this is where I think you were talking about, Kick, about how he just seems that a little things are kind of out of sync, right? And this is one of those biggest moments. This hit spot, I don't mind it. Yeah. Like he does give bot vibes. Yeah. Just so you guys know, Zayover is not a bot. Okay. I do think with Zayover that I'm not entirely sure how Zayover watches this stream, but I've noticed that he kind of he'll comment about things that happened like 30 minutes ago. So I don't know if he's like like behind on the stream, but Zayover's not a bot. All right, just so you know. JC looks like he's really adapted and rhythm looking solid. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Javon Carter in a little bit here. Yo, I can't stay because I'm making dinner, but came by to stop by, say hi, leave my computer on to give you that watchers numbers boost. I really appreciate it, Viper Strike. I know that you're probably not here right now, but I appreciate you being here, one, and saying hi. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate the view boost. Lord Zoe Bay, are you new here? Not sure if you're new here, but hello. Great win for the Bulls. It was a good win for the Bulls. Finally, they look like a modern NBA team for once. It finally happened. Will it happen in the next game? Probably not, but it happened tonight. Bulls 18 and 34 for 3. No way. I know, right? I cannot. First off, the Bulls. If you did not know, the Bulls made 14 threes in the third quarter. Okay, that was the most threes that they made in a game in the season so far. So that just shows you how terrible the Bulls have been from 3-point range. But just how good this game was also. Who did Pat bulldoze last game? I forgot who it was. I like that very much. That's the people I want to see again and again and again. Oh my god, who was it? So that the last game was the Nuggets game, which I didn't stream after that one either. But oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But you're right. Like, we need to see more of that from Pat. But we don't get it from Pat, unfortunately. I haven't been paying attention to the Bulls tonight because the Cubs hired Craig Counsell as their new manager, so that's what I've been focused on. Obviously, Patrick, I expect you to be more focused on that for sure. I'm honestly kind of, I'll talk to you about it later, but I'll just say is that I was a little shocked that Ross did get fired. But you know, congrats on Craig Counsell, I guess. About now. Peeler's driving in and just bulldozed the guy. I think it was last game. I could be wrong. No, I do think it was against the Nuggets, but maybe it was against the Nets. It might have been against the Nets, actually, but I know what you're talking about. I've been following his channel since his first launch, bro, when he was streaming to no one. No, I know you. Yeah, Zayover's been here for a long time, guys. Like, yeah, he's right. He's one of the OG guys that was like part of like my first streams here. So yeah, Zayover's not a bot. You know, he was Walker beating up. I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what that sentence is by you, Lord Zoe. Are you saying that Walker was just blocking everything tonight, specifically against Pat? Because you're right. All right, to finish off Patrick Williams, though, because this is something that I think we're all just kind of interested in with Pat. This right here, okay? This was, in my opinion, also good, right? Similar situation, right? This was very similar to the three that he hit earlier. He's far behind the three-point line, right? Olynyk is nowhere near him. He's basically playing him for the drive, and Pat just raises up. Good, right? If Pat really cannot, for the love of God, if he really can't finish right now, okay, then do that, right? I know that he has struggled from three-point range to start. Like, I know he struggled, but like, I'm telling you, like, just because a guy's struggling from three, like, I want him to still shoot. Especially from a dude that has had like a 40% career 3-point percentage. Like, shoot it. if it was, you know, a center, right? Obviously, don't shoot it. But or specifically, a center doesn't shoot threes. Don't shoot that, obviously. But I mean, we're like, I always hate the argument like when Zach, for example, when Zach doesn't have it going from 3-point range, which seems like that's been more consistent than that's been unfortunately the theme for this season for him, where he just doesn't have it going from three. Guys like, stop shooting. I'm like, no, still shoot. Like, if you watch Klay Thompson, if Klay Thompson could go literally 0 for 11, right? And then if he's wide open with like less than a minute left to go in the game for a 3-point shot, he's still shooting, right? I understand that's Klay Thompson, but shoot. You have to continue to shoot. And Pat, like, yes, I would love to see him get to the rim a lot more and finish, because I think that take his game up a level. But if he can't do that, then do the thing that I feel like you're most confident in at the very least, which is shoot the 3-ball. I guess his mid-range is more confident, but shoot the ball, okay? Catch and shoot opportunities, like, you don't have to do much work for it. Just shoot the ball, and that will look a lot better overall than you trying to from you trying to get into the paint and trying to finish over guys when you just don't have your finishing right now. Let's actually look into this, because I'm actually interested in what the numbers now say, because like I'm not gonna look into like the season numbers. I want to look at specifically his finishing numbers right now. So let's see. In terms of layup, he is 1 for 1. Now I don't know how exactly everything's reported here. This does not include this game, by the way, that we just watched. But all right, at the rim he's 3 for 3, which is good. See. He just hasn't taken enough, I guess, to kind of see. But after that game against the Jazz gets implemented, I like to see all this get implemented in here. But just so you guys know, I'm talking with Pat of like, because a lot of people always say like Pat needs to attack the rim more, right? Well, at the rim, he shot a pretty good percentage, but that's mostly because his dunk percentage was pretty high. But even a dunk percentage of 72% is awful. Like, if you're dunking the ball, that should be like 90-something%. You should not have a dunk percentage under 90%, okay? But his layup percentage is at 48%. That is awful, okay? Your layup percentage needs to be in the 60s, okay? It should never be in the 48% for someone like Patrick Williams specifically, okay? Obviously, if you're like a small guard and you try to shoot layups, you're not gonna have like a great layup percentage because you're a smaller dude, okay? But for a guy that's 6'7", he should have a higher layup percentage at 48%, which just shows you that his finishing overall has not been good for his career. And last year was like the big season, like, you know, the most played in his seasons, right? And then even this season, let's look into this. I mean, again, 48%, right? His rookie year, which I don't want to count this because he's a rookie, but it's just unfortunately been the theme of his career that he doesn't finish at the rim well enough. 50% at the rim is not good enough. You need to shoot much higher percentage than 50% at the rim. I'm from Chicago Bulls Central. Oh, gotcha. See, Hayes was the guy that you learned me from. First off, welcome in. I'm glad to see you here. Appreciate the support, and I truly want to thank Hayes for helping me out in my time as a content creator for the Bulls. So glad to see you here, Lord Zoe. I hope that you enjoy your time here, and welcome to the community, because we're going to continue to grow it here. Was the Locked On Bulls one of those? You expressed my frustration every time you point out something frustrating. I was like, yeah. Locked On Bulls. So let's see. Kick me down. So I think you're also new, right? Because I haven't really seen your name in this chat either. First off, I appreciate that you agree with everything I say. I'm not perfect, and I understand people disagree with me, but I appreciate that you like my analysis. But I've never been on Locked On Bulls before. That is something that I would like to get on at some point in my career, but I don't think I'm going to get to that point, at least in the near future. But I have been on Hayes' channel, Bulls Central Pod. I've done collaborations with him on that channel. So I've never been on Locked On Bulls. That's not something that I've ever done, but I'd hope to get there one day. Do you go to Bulls games often? So you can call me a fake Bulls fan, but I've never been to the Bulls game before. I've been to NBA games before, but I've never been to a Bulls game. Part of that is I don't want to give any money to Jerry Reinsdorf. I've had chances to go to Bulls games, and I've turned them down because I'm not going to give my money to Reinsdorf. Other part of that, though, is that I have not been able to actually really go to a Bulls game until like the last couple of years. And then obviously the last couple of years, I should have probably went when they were, the first year that DeRozan came, but that was also like when COVID, it was like a peak. So I was kind of scared to go out in the public, but yeah. And then ever since then, I'm just like, I'm never giving money to Reinsdorf. Never gonna do that. Worst owner ever. Good on, Taro. How you doing? Did you watch the game tonight, Taro? We're celebrating a Bulls win here, as finally the Bulls look like a modern day NBA team. I get money to Reinsdorf for going to the game Wednesday. You know what? At least you're going to see Kevin Durant play at the very least, and maybe Bradley Beal and some others from the Phoenix Suns. So it's not the biggest, problem in a sense. If you're gonna ever give money to Reinsdorf, at least get your money's worth, right? So yeah, I mean, you get to go watch one of the greatest players ever, which I think that's really cool. Yeah, I even if like Steph Curry's in town, I'm not gonna give my money to Reinsdorf. There's no reason for me to do such a thing. But yeah, you can call me a fake Bulls fan, but I just there's no reason for me to go and give money to Reinsdorf at this point. I hope others express the same idea. First thing that I say something about Scry a few months ago, I think, oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I try to keep track of as many people as I can. I mean, I think I know the regular names pretty well. I mean, obviously, I think you saw Noel earlier. Patrick's my cousin, so if you don't know that, so Patrick's obviously he's been here for a while, and then Zay over Taro, like these guys have all been here a lot, so I do typically know. But yeah, glad to see that you're chatting here, and Kick. I'm always happy to see people kind of join in the conversation on this channel, and I'm trying to make sure that I build the correct community here. I do think that the content creator is like they're basically kind of in charge of the other community, or they're kind of responsible for the community, and I'm hoping to be building the correct one. I don't want to necessarily be building a community full of like kind of sort of casuals in a sense that kind of say what's popular, right? Because I think a popular thing to say right now is, yeah, posting up Vooch is the best option for this Bulls squad, and that he needs to get many post touches per night. And I'm here to tell you, like, look, man, that's a popular saying, and I understand that the color analyst for the Bulls, he says that constantly, but let's just be honest with ourselves, man. Like, it's really just a terrible decision just to do such a thing. And I in my last stream, I said I wanted to check in on actually Vooch's like numbers from the post this year, because when I did check in on them, it was awful. But let's check in now after, I guess this is only 7 games still for Vooch. Where is he actually? Nikola Vucevic in the post this season, he's gotten four possessions, but this is basically possessions where he decides to score the ball, okay? But in the possessions where he takes a shot from the post, which he has a very high frequency, okay? I mean, we're talking similar frequency to Karl-Anthony Towns, Bam Adebayo, and others. He is averaging 0.71 points per possession in the post, and that is good for the 14th percentile in the NBA. Like, that's awful. That's just straight up garbage. And I talked about this before. Like, yeah, I understand that like posting a Vooch sounds nice, but I was even tricked by Vooch, because like when Vooch first got here, I was like, yeah, let's post him up, because I do think that he truly is a good post up player. But then after he got here and I watched him for a few games and I looked up his numbers, I was like, oh, he's not good from the post. Last season, okay, he actually had like a pretty okay season from the post. Okay, 1.05 points per possession. That's not great. Not awful though. Okay. Okay, and you can see here that he's getting enough touches. Like, this is plenty, right? He's posting up the same amount of times as Giannis per game. Okay, but you look through his every other season. Okay, this was worse. Like, this is awful. Okay, first season with the Bulls, half a year with the Bulls, but then this season when he had like that great year with the Magic, like, this isn't good. He's not good from the post. Okay, it just straight up shows that, like, I think that a lot of people just kind of hear some talk, right, and like, oh, well, that's popular, then I'm gonna say it, so I sound smart. And I'm like, look, you can disagree with me on here. I love having people disagree with me. I think that's a good thing. I love having, like, discussions where not everyone's in agreement in my chat, because I also think that's a good thing. Okay, but what I don't want, in this sort of chat here is let's just say what's popular. Like, I don't think that's cool, and I don't think that's, like, I don't like to call it, like, bar talk in a sense, because I actually think bar talk is, like, actually really cool. I think that people can go to a bar and talk about a sports team for hours, and it could be like a really intelligent conversation. But I'm more so talking about the people, like the trolls on Twitter that like to, like, spew some things out, and that sort of stuff is like, why do you have a Twitter account? Like, there are some Bulls fans in my opinion, in quotations, on Twitter that have a pretty big following, right? And all they do is just tweet out, like, this, like, they just repeat things that they heard from others. And I'm like, well, congrats on the following. I must be doing something wrong because I don't have a big following. But it just shows, I'm like, that's not really what I want to bring. I want to bring actually, like, really, like, thought out analysis. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. If you agree with me, that's fine. And then we can talk about it. Good on, Calvin. How you doing? Always hear announcements of the Bulls, and you always trigger my sports brain to think about what's going on for real. Got special respect for this channel. I appreciate it, Calvin. Yeah, and obviously, you've been here for a long time as well. So I appreciate, obviously, you modding and everything, and I also know you're busy. So appreciate the kind words and you just being here. Very much like real analysis backed up by stats and evidence, not just someone talking about their opinion with no backup, which happens a lot, unfortunately. Like, forget even just First Take. Like, I know First Take with Stephen A. Smith, and he does all this yapping, right? But it's just like, even some of the people that I think a lot of people think, like, oh, you're really smart. Like, I have some issues, and it's not that I don't think that they're, like, I'm not trying to be here and say, like, well, this person's bad at analysis. I just think that sometimes some people get really lazy and they start thinking, hey, we're just gonna do, like, we're just gonna say the simple things. Like, for example, I don't know if you guys know Waldo and Sylvie on ESPN 1000 Chicago. Like, I've listened to their radio a lot. Like, I've listened to it over the years, and I still tune in every now and then. But a lot of what Sylvie says, okay, and he's very popular for a reason. I think Sylvie was a fantastic journalist back in the day, and he did his job well, and he does bring some good content to radio. But when you listen to his Bulls analysis, it's really not that in depth. It's just kind of saying, like, well, this team is going to struggle defensively. Vooch is not that great of a defender, and obviously Levine has decision-making issues, and we see here that DeMar DeRozan is, like, one of the best players in the NBA, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, bro, first off, this team last season, the problem was the offense. It wasn't the defense, okay? Vooch is not that bad of a defender as people really say. He's not a shot blocker by any means, but it's not like he is, negative defensively, okay? I agree that Levine has decision-making issues for sure, right? But I don't think that he gets enough respect from the media in terms of the fact that he's a modern-day NBA player. And with Zach, like, I mean, think about what he's gone through. Like, the dude went through the Boylan era. He went through the hell years of the Bulls, right? And he also, like, he has had so many different coaches trying to teach him how to play the game. And yeah, he's not perfect. I agree with that. I don't think Zach LaVine's perfect. Do I think he deserved a max contract? Yes, but a lot of non-perfect players deserve the max contract. And I just think that a lot of the time it's always like, well, what Zach isn't, and then what instead of what Zach actually does. Do I think he's had a bad start to the year? For sure, and he deserves a criticism. But then let's also make sure that we're criticizing the other players that have not done anything near as good as what Zach's bad start to the season has done, right, that he's put up. Like, we need to make sure that we criticize things correctly, and it's that includes not just criticizing the players, that includes criticizing the people upstairs, right, in the front office that have the money and have full power over things. Plus, like, in-depth videos like Steph No's video or highlighting Tech Halburn. Yeah, and Steph No, I don't know if you guys, like, so Steph No is, like, one of my, like, big guys that I look up to. Like, I've always looked up to Steph No because I've always watched Steph, or listened or read or watched Steph No's analysis for a long time. And he's like, he used to cover the Bulls for The Athletic, and I was always like so impressed with everything he did with when watching the Bulls and everything and breaking things down. Like, he's kind of like been my, you know, sort of dude I look up to. And one of my biggest moments was when I went to the summer league this season. I got to meet Steph No, and the crazy thing about it was that the crazy thing about this with Steph No is that he like I actually, well, I was sitting in this exact chair that you see me here, and Steph No he's just walking up the stairs, and I was like, hey, what's going on, Steph? And one shook his hand. He's like, oh wait, I know you. Like, you're the dude that has that Bulls channel, right? I'm like, yeah. Like, you know my son's like, yeah, I've seen a couple of things of yours. I'm like, oh my god. It's like the dude that I've looked up to for a long time he's actually seen some of the things I've done, which I think that's so awesome. Honestly, Vooch straight up ignoring looks from three is hurting the offense a lot this season. He's not providing any spacing right now. I wouldn't say it's like full out hurting, but it is hurting the offense. Like, I agree with you that Vucevic needs to shoot more threes. Like, so as well as the Bulls shot tonight. Okay, now I'm gonna give some players some slack because the Bulls didn't play like a full game in a sense, but it was pretty much a full game. But you know, Zach only had So I mean, look, Levine only had 30, DeRozan 30, Kobe White 30, Vooch 30. Okay, you know, it's not like it's not really a full game, but it's close to it. Okay, I've talked about this before. Okay, Vooch cannot be shooting 2 threes a night. Okay, that's inexcusable. Vooch needs to be shooting, in my opinion, he needs to bare minimum. He should be shooting like 4. Okay, I think he should be shooting honestly close to 6, but you know, that's my decision. Zach needs to be taking like 10 every night. Okay, I said bare minimum 8 for him. I think he needs to honestly take 10 per night. But the problem is that he's also like the main driver for this team. He's like the main dude that can get downhill and attack the basket. So it's a hard thing to kind of do for Zach, but I honestly think he needs to take like 10 every single night. Kobe needs to take 8 every single night. I said for Patrick when he was starting, he needs to take 6 every single night, right? It's not just Vooch in a sense that he isn't shooting enough, but you know, we saw games, you know, in the past couple of games where he only shot 1 3, right? And it's like, that cannot happen. You're right. He needs to shoot more threes for sure. And I would truly hope that Vooch kind of sees that. But the thing that I'm going to give credit to Vooch, okay, is I think that he's mostly trying to get his offense in the paint, okay, which I'm going to give him credit for. Because last season, right, we'd be seeing shots from like all over here. And then even in that Nuggets game, we kind of saw it. But at least so far this season from Vooch, he's getting to the paint more. And that to me is more important for Vooch instead of him shooting the mid-range shot, right? And I'll also say that I think that his paint shots are also more important than his three-point shots, but that does not mean that he should not be taking threes. He still needs to take threes, especially when they're open. And there are moments he doesn't even look at the rim when he's at the three-point line, when I think he should probably shoot it. So yeah, I overall agree with that. I think Vooch last season is had. I recall seeing Vooch taking a lot of threes and missing a lot of them. Sure, yeah, he might have that, but his numbers from last season don't exactly say that. Okay, his numbers actually from 3 last season were pretty good. He shot 37%, I think it was. No, it was 35%. Sorry. 35% for 3. That's not terrible, okay? But like, he even took less threes than the previous season, and that this season, like, that I think you're more referring to, Kick. Like, this is the first year with DeRozan. His 3-point percentage was dreadful that year, and that was just ridiculous to watch. As you can see, this season he's taking 2 less threes per game, which to me doesn't make much sense. But you know, we can figure it out in a sense. If he's gonna be taking less threes, right, then I'm saying that he needs to be in the paint most of the time and scoring in the paint. I don't know his numbers right now, but in terms of his shots in the paint, like, it's been a rough start for him. So at the rim, he's shooting 71%. That's pretty okay. On hook shots, which people have talked about, the Nikola Vucevic hook shot is one of the best in the league. Well, he's shooting 45% on it. On layups, he's shooting 65%. That's pretty bad for a big man. But, well, you know, it's okay. But on shots from 3 to 10 feet, he's shooting 43%. That's dreadful. And obviously, I've said for many reasons that don't shoot mid-range, and he's 2 for 9. So he's missing some easy looks. Like, just straight up, Vooch has missed some easy looks at the rim. And there are many moments, especially in the post, where I'm like, okay, he should be able to finish this one. Like, he'll seal his man, which, if you're going to give Vooch the ball in the post, he has to seal his man, like, underneath the basket, and he can just go straight up, which I'm fine with that. But there are moments when he does that, and then he still misses it, and it's like point-blank range, and he just misses it. So he needs to figure it out in terms of his overall shooting. He's had a couple of good games, especially the last couple of games, you know, against the Nuggets, and I think it's also against Brooklyn, but or I guess Dallas. He had a pretty good game, but his finishing needs to get better. And if he's not gonna finish that good, then I need to see him start shooting more threes, because this team, even though tonight was a decent night, they need to just continue to shoot threes, because you're not gonna be making 18 threes on 34 shots every single night. So the Bulls should be honestly striving for, 35 plus threes per night, hoping that you make basically 13 to 15 every single night. And that will help decrease the 3-point disparity that we continuously see. Also, by the way, the Bulls finally had a game in the longest period of time where they won the 3-point battle. For the first time this season, obviously, they won the 3-point battle in a game. And I honestly think it's been a really long time since this actually happened with this sort of group of guys. So it finally happened. It finally did happen, where the Bulls actually outshot their opponents, which I did not expect it would be the Utah Jazz out of all teams they would have done it to, because the Jazz are a team that usually light up from 3-point range. So yeah, crazy stuff. All right, one last look at the Bulls shot chart here, and then I want to do one more, or I think honestly 2 more. Yeah, we're gonna do 2 more. We're gonna do 2 more kind of film breakdowns. Okay, we're just gonna start right now. Sorry, here it is. There it is. Okay, let's watch this. Okay. So, here's something in my opinion, okay, that I think that LaVine, Kobe, like, these sort of guys can kind of take from what Javon Carter did today and implement it into their game. Specifically, I'm going to point out to Zach mostly, because I think that there are times with Zach that he is always like looking to drive, which I appreciate, right? I appreciate that he's looking to drive, but there are times where I'm just like, just shoot the ball. There are many people that would be upset out of their minds if LaVine took this shot that I'm going to show you right here that Javon Carter took. I'm here to tell you it's a good shot, because around the NBA, there are many players that aren't even all-stars that take these sort of shots, okay? It just bothers me how much that I think that a lot of Chicago fans are all about, like, blue collar. Even Stacey King tonight was talking about how the Bulls need to basically be the identity of a team where it's like it's a bloody battle every single night. They're not going to give you anything. They're going to hit you hard. And I'm just like, look, man, the 90s are over, okay? I'm sorry, Stacey King, and I love what Stacey King does as a color commentator and all of his nicknames, but the dude is literally still stuck in the 90s. Like, he's talking about how important it is for the Bulls to come out punching these guys in the mouth and being physical, etc., etc., etc. I'm just like, bro, the 90s are over, man. Like, you can't do that in today's game, 1, but 2, like, it's just not smart. Like, you're not going to win games. And let's watch this, okay? This is simple Bulls action that we have seen all the time, okay? They throw it to a center. Oh, sorry. They throw it to the center here as kind of like the point center, okay? So when you look at this, right, like this is Vooch, this is Drummond, or whatever, right? And this pass came from DeRozan, right? And then you're gonna see here, Io comes down, sets a little pin down for Carter to come up to and take the ball from Drummond, okay? I mean, we've seen this action all the time, but watch what Carter does here, okay? His man in this sort of scenario here went under the screen. You see here, Taylor Horton-Tucker, set, he went under the screen. If this is the case, okay, if this is LaVine, this is Kobe, now it's more unlikely to happen to LaVine because they understand he is a good shooter, right? And there's no reason to go under a screen when it comes to Zach. But if this ever happens, okay, just rise up, shoot this ball. This is the old heads. I like to call them old heads because I should honestly just say that people that believe 90s basketball is still effective, okay, they think this is a terrible shot. To me, this is like, oh my god, this is modern day basketball. We finally saw it in a Bulls uniform because we haven't seen it in a long time. I love this personally. Like I think Javon Carter obviously can do this, right? And he did this a lot in Milwaukee, but then obviously Kobe can do this in my opinion. I think LaVine can do this, right? And then hopefully Patrick Williams kind of starts working on his footwork speed. He should also be able to do this, okay? And this is a good shot. If the defender goes under the screen, that's basically hand down, man down. Shoot the three ball. This is a good shot, okay? Now, I'm going to show you something else that I don't know exactly if it's going to be in the NBA.com, but actually it is. Perfect. Let's watch this because I actually like put this down as like a thing that I want to show you guys, okay? Sorry. So, let's watch this, okay? I'm pretty sure this is an offensive rebound situation for the Bulls, and we threw it back out to Io. I could be wrong. I'm not entirely sure. So, Io right now, okay, if you look at what's happening on the floor right now, you should be taking note that Kelly Olynyk right now is on Io DeSumo, right? So, you have a 7-footer who has slow foot speed, is guarding this perimeter dude, right? Kelly Olynyk should be on Torrey Craig, but instead it's Jordan Clarkson's on Torrey Craig, right? So this is a mismatch. And as many people are always thinking, well, okay, post up the big man when there's a mismatch, right? Then I get it. But then the numbers have also shown that this is also an effective mismatch. Even if it's not a dude that is an all-star, this is still an effective mismatch, okay? Now, Io is thinking, oh my god, okay, I gotta do a big guy on me. I gotta do that slow-footed, and I want to drive to the basket. I'm showing you here a problem with this Bulls team, okay? Because the spacing is still not good, right? So, this probably was, all right, I'm gonna try to give the benefit of the doubt to Vooch in this sort of scenario because it was probably supposed to be a screen and roll. And so you see Vooch is going to be starting to move up towards the top of the key because it's probably that. But this right here is a prime. Oh, sorry. This is a prime example, at least in my opinion, where the spacing is just still terrible with this team. And I'm still seeing these moments throughout the game that I'm like, this is the problem. Okay, because everybody wants to take up the same space, and this doesn't even include the big three, right? Like, yeah, Zach and Vooch are out here, but these two aren't even colliding in a sense. This is just Io and Vooch coming together. And what is this? Okay. The obvious decision, okay, is to put Vooch in the corner. And there are many people that have actually written about Vooch being in the corner. But to me, if this is the scenario that's happening, what you actually see a lot of teams do, if you kind of watch the Milwaukee Bucks specifically, the ideal situation is that you put Torrey Craig over here and you put Vooch over here. Because then that puts then his dude, which is typically the shot blocker, they have to stand out here at the elbow. And that's the ideal thing. But either way, then, with Vooch, and, again, I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt here. It just shows you the spacing problem with this sort of play. And Vooch could have just been in any other scenario, and it just would have been better. Like, just be somewhere else, okay? Like, if you're just here or if you're here, this is just better than being where you are right here. I'm gonna try to give him benefit of the doubt. Maybe that was the play call, but he's got to get out of here because this is a mismatch. And guys got to have a better recognition when there is a mismatch on the floor, even if it's not for an all-star player, right? Like if that's Zach LaVine, that probably goes better. But Io is capable of driving past Kelly Olynyk and getting a layup out of it. So clear out. Let's make sure that we take advantage of the mismatch, because that's a good thing to do. Let's break the play and let's do the right thing. That's good basketball if you just do the right thing, right? But a lot of people are always like, "Oh my God, you guys still run the play. You got to post up the big man because there's a small dude on Torrey Craig now. We got to post up Torrey Craig now." Let's not do that. Let's just do the simple thing, which is what a lot of teams do nowadays. It's just you give it to the guard who has a big dude on him. That's just how things work. Okay. I do want to see this against a team with decent perimeter defense, though. Oh, for sure, and that's the reason why I said that. 13 or 18 of 34 shooting is just it's not consistent. It's not going to continue for this Bull squad. This Jazz defense is just straight up garbage, and we'll see if it gets better in the future. But we need to see this Bulls team actually do this sort of shooting against a good team. Now, I'm not saying, hey, let's go shoot 52% from three-point range again, because that's not going to happen, right? Even the best shooting teams don't shoot 52% from three-point range on any given night. But what I would like to see is the Bulls to have a game where they make 15 plus threes. They shot basically 35 plus threes in that game, and they shot close to 40%. Because that to me is good value overall, and you shot a respectable percentage, right? And that's going to help eliminate the free throw disparity. It also helps that the Utah Jazz are not really a team that gets to the free throw line. I mean, they got there 17 times. That's pretty respectable. But overall, though, they're not really a team that's going to get there a ton. So the opponents tonight for the Bulls, honestly, because they weren't really hitting their threes and they turned it over a lot, kind of worked in the Bulls' favor, right? But yeah, this is something that we need to see from this Bulls team against a better defensive squad, obviously, but also against a team that doesn't turn over 22 times. That's just that's ridiculous for what we saw from the Jazz tonight, and a lot of those turnovers were live ball turnovers tonight, which hurts you the most. Pacers score 143, crazy. Was it 143? I actually thought it was higher tonight. Let's look. Yeah, it was 152. Yeah, I was like, I think that was a higher number. Yeah, we saw the Pacers score 152 points tonight. And they only shot 38 threes. They made 23. So if you think about it, that's 60 points from the 3-point line, which is insane, right? So yeah, I mean, they shot 55 and 95 from the field, which is insane. And shot 20 of 38 from the 3-point line, which is also insane. And they made 22 of the 23 free throws. So yeah, crazy. They had 38 assists. I don't know what was going on. I mean, Wemby had a bad game, clearly. But I mean, even if you're having a bad game for Wemby, Greg Popovich is usually not allowing that sort of thing to happen. But it happened tonight, so not sure. But yeah. Unfortunately, I understand a lot of people like the whole 90s basketball slow game. Look, man. I used to be with you guys of like, I like the mid-range shot, I like the post up. Okay, just saying, I'm just not a big fan of posting up your center unless you have a Hall of Fame center. Okay, for like the new people tonight, posting up a center, in my opinion, is just not as effective as it once was. Obviously, if you have a Jokic, you have an Embiid, you post them up, right? If I had a Tim Duncan in today's world, I'd post them up, right? Because those guys are extremely efficient from the post, okay? But when you look at these other guys, right, and in terms of just the overall post-ups, right, I mean, you can clearly see this actually, that's not cool. Let's look at this season, right? I mean, Jokic, 1.14, Anthony Davis is 1.40, like, yeah, post these dudes up. Embiid's actually having a terrible start to the season, so maybe don't post them up, honestly. But when it comes to the other guys, let's actually look at last season, because that's a better perspective. Like, these two guys are like, they're pretty efficient. Obviously, they're like one of the best in percentiles, right? But like, Jonas Valanciunas, just saying, should not be posting up for the New Orleans Pelicans. There's no reason for him to be posting up. And with DeAndre Ayton, same thing with Yusuf Nurkic, okay? And I'm gonna give a little bit of benefit of the doubt for Zion, but like, Kristaps Porzingis, okay, like, Rick Carlisle was asked about was once asked about posting of Kristaps Porzingis, and his response was literally just that, why would I be posting up Porzingis when there are just so many more efficient options, right? And I was even one of those people that was like, you should post up Porzingis, because I thought Kristaps actually had the potential to kind of like be like a Jokic in a sense, but he clearly is not that. But a 7'3" dude that it can shoot the 3-ball like that, then that's extremely good and is very helpful in today's NBA game. And obviously you'd want him shooting the 3-ball instead of him posting up. It's very, very simple. So yeah, I mean, even other coaches are understanding that. Now, posting up, you know, let's say your small forward in a sense, like you see Kevin Durant do a lot of the times, right? And you can see here, KD didn't post up that much last season, but you'll still see it from him. But he's pretty efficient from there. That's fine. Like, I think that's fine. And even for someone like DeMar DeRozan in a sense, like I think him posting up, that's fine. Whole reason being is that the shot blocker is not then just standing right at the rim, right? If you post up a small forward or a perimeter player and you're moving the big man around, right, that takes the shot blocker away, right? And I'm fine with that. But when we're posting up the center and he's backing down the center, it doesn't make any sense. And so, you know, for someone like Wembanyama, for example, like he's gonna be a guy that I'm gonna be willing to post up, right? But if he's being guarded by like a shot blocker in a sense, it probably isn't the best use of his capabilities, because he could do a hell of a lot more, right? The dude can shoot the 3-ball. He can just dribble as a 7'4" dude. He can dribble the basketball extremely well. Like, there's just so many different other things you can do with him. But if he's being guarded by a smaller man, then yeah, for sure, go post him up. That's fine. Yeah. But if Vishnitsky gets 3 back, yeah. I mean, we were talking about it earlier, Noel. Like, I think, yeah, optimistic Bulls fan talked about, like, he needs to shoot threes. I mean, if we're looking at his overall 3-point field attempts like per game, I mean, it has basically dropped 2 attempts per game this season. It's early, so that can change, you know, the next game. But yeah, it's got to be better from Vooch in terms of his 3-point attempts per game. That needs to rise. And the whole reason why I'm bringing this up, though, is that if you just look at today's game, right, there are teams that go off for 152 points, and while that sucks, right, for the opposing team, right, and a lot of people don't like it because it's a blowout, but this is how games are played now, right? And so you got to keep up with it. And if your team's doing this, I'm going to be here to tell you that you're not going to complain. If your team puts up 152 points and shoots, you know, or makes 23s and doesn't post up, you won't be complaining. I'm just basically saying that a lot of the people around Bulls Nation, they're like, we want to go back to the 90s. We want to see the post-ups, and we want to see the low-scoring games. I'm like, look, man, you can wish all you want, but I'm telling you, that's just not how it works in today's world anymore. And I'm not saying that you guys are saying that like we need to post up Vooch or anything. I'm not saying that, like, you know, you guys brought that up or whatever. I'm just pointing out, like, look at the scores from tonight. I mean, Bulls scored 130 points. Vooch posted up twice and was like 0 for 2, right? I mean, obviously Denver has this incredible post-up player, right, and Jokic, okay? But, I mean, look at the Houston Rockets, right? 122. OKC Thunder, 126. They don't have a post-up option. Neither do the Brooklyn Nets, besides Ben Simmons in a sense, right? But, I mean, you're just seeing how the games are played now. So, get used to it. And that's not a message to you guys. It's just a message to the 90s basketball fanatics that love to just say, we need to go back to 90s basketball, when it's just like, no, we don't. We just straight up don't. It's okay if we don't play 90s basketball. We'll live if we don't play 90s basketball. All right. That's basically all I have for you guys tonight, honestly. Once again, I want to say thank you guys for all popping in tonight. And also thank you for hanging out and being understanding of my whole thing. I don't like to miss 2 games in a row in terms of post-game streams. I took Friday off because I needed to. And then Saturday against the Nuggets, I did not want to miss that one, but something came up. So I do appreciate you guys just kind of understanding that I had to miss that one. We're back on schedule now, so I'll be here to stream on Wednesday night after the Bulls play the Phoenix Suns. Bulls have a 5 games in 8 days stretch for some reason coming up or something like that, or something crazy weird. But hopefully the Bulls can start getting things together. Or if you're on the other end and you probably think the Bulls should be blowing it up, then maybe you want the Bulls to absolutely lose. Which I don't blame you, honestly. This team still has problems. So good win tonight. I don't know if this Bulls team is going to continue this sort of good play. I have serious doubts about it. But If you have not already, please hit the like button and stream. Helps me out a ton. If you're new to the channel, like Bull's content, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. We're trying to get there soon. So if you know anybody that would be interested in Bull's content, please send them to my channel. Helps me out a ton. And once we get to 1,000, then big things are going to be happening here. I promised you guys that I have like this 2K video coming out. It's not exactly what you think. It's not going to be with 2K24 or anything, okay? But it's a fun video that I have planned in mind, so just be on the lookout for that. It's still kind of in the works, and once I get the 2K video come out, you're gonna see it then eventually come on here and on the stream. So it'll be like a little fun thing that we can do together on the streaming platform. And then last but not least, I have told you guys that there is a gaming channel coming soon. I know that I've said this many times and it has not come yet. I'm still kind of deciding a couple of things right now, and hopefully that gets out soon, but that's not my main concern for now. But appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. Bulls got this one against Utah Jazz. For some reason, Markkanen cannot beat the Bulls for whatever reason whenever he faces the Bulls. But let's see if the Bulls can continue this on Wednesday against the Phoenix Suns. But appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.
Rufus hates being stuck inside.